Welcome to NSI.
Hello, everybody. Welcome again to the NSI Nail Tech Face Group page. We are going to be doing another live webinar today, and I am actually really excited about, not that I'm not excited about any of the ones that we've done, but I think just off of what we did last month, there were a lot of questions that were coming up that with pinching. And so I've done a really good comparison that we're going to walk through today to see when to, when not to, why do we want to. So I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be useful and helpful. And yeah, so that is going to be starting here right away. We're just going to give everybody a couple of minutes to log on. So please do a shout out. Let us know where you are from. And please, please, please ask any questions that you want. And Isabel will just send them out to me, and just interrupt at any time, Isabel, because you know I don't stop talking. I just keep going. So just blur them out, and we'll be answering questions along the way. So yes, welcome again. For those of you that it's your first time here, my name is Darlene. I am NSI's in-house educator, as well as a global educator, and I am just really excited to be able to be sharing things with you. So we're going to be looking at implements today, how to use them, when to use them, why to use them, together with really focusing on that wonderful, beautiful C curve that we all really try to get, and you don't need to have a lot of product to do it. So anyways, I'm excited. So I'm going to get things started. You know the drill. I'm going to just turn things around here, and we're going to get things on the go. So give me sorry, slight technical. Now you're sideways, upside down. I know everybody is cringing, saying, why are you doing this? Okay, here we go. We are live. We have my tabletop here. So I'm just going to, sorry, bring this down just a little bit so that we can have a closer visual, and get my light situated here. Okay, so yes, so again, we mentioned it last month that we have our new implements. So I want to show you under camera one more time, and we are going to use almost pretty much all of them today. We're going to be looking at them. Is that too much of a shadow? Can you let me know? Or is that, can you see, is that clear? Trying to, okay, if I hear nothing, then I think it's good. Okay. So these are the implements that we're going to be looking at. You can
Sorry,
purchase
Dar, it
them.
looks good.
It looks okay. Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
You can purchase them all individual, or you can purchase them as a set. So if you're purchasing them as a set, it comes in a really nice little carry case, and you will get your your tip cutters, you will get nippers, you will get your cuticle pusher, you will get scissors, and you will get a pinching tool. And I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on them, on like individually. I want to kind of jump right into things here, but what I really, really like about all of these are that they are a really strong stainless steel. They are quality products. I love the fact that the tip cutters, they're all metal. So you can, if you want to, you can cut your extensions right off. And it won't break on you. So I really like the fact that they are all metal and not plastic. I love the nippers because they have that little case on there, which you do want to keep them on, but the jaws are nice. The cutting edge here is really nice and small, so I can get into those really tiny spaces for cutting. I love the cuticle pusher. It's got a beautiful spoon on it. And then on this side here, a great blade for helping to remove all that dry, dead cuticle. I love the scissors. They're nice and small, so they're going to get into, and you'll see, because I'll be using these to cut forms into tight places, and of course, the pinching tools. which are fantastic. You're just gonna love them all. Okay, so what are we doing today? Let me scooch some of these things out of the way. I want to just take a look here for a minute, if you can, at my right hand. I have done, they're acrylic. I have done 4 different techniques. Okay, so this one is a tip. This is a form that is not customized. This is a form that has been customized. This is a form that is customized plus pinching. So if you take a look down the barrel, you are going to see. So the tip, what I love about our NSI Precision Plus tips is that they do have a really nice, tight C curve. Okay, so that's great for tips. Okay, I don't have to worry about pinching or anything like that. It's all built in. But a form that is not customized, can you see there's no C curve. I have extremely flat nails. And when you look at the nail bed on top, this one looks wider, especially right here across this band here, compared to the one that I customized. Okay, so you're going to see that the C curve is getting tighter and tighter and tighter. And if you compare these two, obviously this one is the pinched one as well as the customized form. It is as nice and tight as the tip is, and even more so. So this is why we want to be able to achieve a really nice deep C curve, is because it makes it a stronger nail without having to apply a lot of product to the nail. So this is going to be what we're looking at. And often when we're starting to do nails, when we're first learning, the nails, we put the forms on and yeah, they're flat. We just make them fit to the finger. Well, I've got really flat nails, so you can see like that there is no C curve to these babies whatsoever, but I also have a very high hyponychium. Okay, so I'm going to show you things that happen along the way. All right, so let's get started. I have already prepped my nails as far as the etching goes, and I've cleaned up my cuticle, but if I need to, just under camera, I push back that cuticle, and you can see right there is some dry skin. And now using the blade side, you can see how that just so nicely removes all the dry cuticle that is left on the nail plate. And that is definitely something that we want to get rid of, because we all know product does not stick to skin. All right. Okay, so we're nice and clean. Put that aside. Let's take a look at the tips here for a second. Some people are afraid to use these tips because they are well-less, but they're great because they are to be applied right at the natural smile line. And what these tips are doing is they're actually sucking in the sides of my nail and making it hug. Okay, so I love that because it's giving me a really nice tight C curve to start with. So I'm going to use my Polybond adhesive. If I can, oh no. Okay, there we go. I thought I glued it shut. Oh boy. Okay. So I'm going to just apply a little bit right here. And if you're new to tips and you don't use them very often, make sure that you are applying them to a nice clean nail bed, but do not put your primers on. If you're wondering why your tips aren't sticking, ask yourself, did I put on my primer on the natural nail plate already? Because if you did, the tips will not stick. So I'm just going to hold that in so you can see right in here, it just hugs it really nice and tight, and it gives you that beautiful C curve. Okay, so I'll use my tip cutters, take length down, and there we go. Okay, so we want to achieve this by using forms. All right, so let's take our first form. I'm using the platinum forms, which I absolutely love. Again, if you're new to forms and you're not sure what you're supposed to do with them, let me give you a little bit of a tutorial on these. You've got your black lines on the sides. These are to line up with your sidewalls on your natural nail, okay? When we're putting product on the forms, we want to use these grids so that we can get the sidewall to sidewall the same depth and then the same length, okay? If you're doing an almond or a stiletto, you've also got your purple lines here that help to achieve that. We've got a cutout mark for the hyponychium, and then we have more cut marks when we're customizing our forms. So this particular form, I am not going to customize, okay? So I'm just going to take off my tab for a minute. I always like to rip it apart. So I'm not cutting, I'm not doing anything, and lots of nail techs do this because they don't know how to cut. I do like to kind of pinch my form a little bit because I find it's so much easier to get the form on when I don't have to worry about the front. All right, so the dots are for the middle. So first thing that I want to do is I want to also make sure that I close my tabs on the bottom equal. Okay. So I hope you can see this under camera. I'm going to lift it up just a little bit more. If you look right here, the form is pressing against my hyponychium, okay? And it's putting pressure on my nail plate. I've got a gap here and a gap here. It's not sitting proper, okay? But a lot of nail techs, what they do is they'll just press that form up and say, okay, let's get it in a little bit closer. But it's hurting my hyponychium right there. So this is the first thing, okay? So you can see here, the C curve looks nice and tight, but as we get further to the back, you can see that it flattens out, okay? All right, so let me put on my primer. So I'm using the Essential Bond, which is an acid-free primer. I'm just gonna right away prime off nails here because I will probably forget. All right, so there's my primer. Today I am using the NSI Attraction Sensitive. Okay, I really, really, really love that monomer. I'm using the Royal Precision brush because this is my favorite brush. Okay, I've got my dapping dish here already loaded. Just get those bubbles out. Okay, and I am using Attraction Purely Pink Mask. Okie dokies. So, first things first, I am going to get the product on my form and start sculpting out this nail. Okay, so I dip in, brush off the backside, pull towards me, wait for that bead to melt really nice, and I'm going to give it a press, purge out some of that product. And again, working on the tip right now, or on the form, pardon me, and I am pressing it out. Now you can tell as I'm putting the product on, yeah, some of that product is slipping down into that little crack there because I don't have my form cut right up against the skin. Okay, so don't fuss with it. I'm just pressing it out, following my lines. Okay. All righties. Second bead. Going to press it out there.
Darlene,
Yeah,
would you be able to talk about why you like the sensitive monomer?
yeah. Sorry, I can tell you about that. So I used to, well, it's not that I don't use the original formula anymore, but I do have some clients that have developed allergies over the years. And the sensitive is HEMA-free. So I like using that because, of course, the HEMA is not in there and my clients can wear it. I love the fact, too, that it sets up just ever slightly slower, just a little slower than the original monomer. So for me then, because I'm used to it setting up quick, I could, trying to use universal for me, I couldn't do it. It was just too slow for setting up. But I love the fact that this one sets up just ever so slightly. You barely even notice that it's a little slower. But I love the fact that, again, it's HEMA free. I find, okay, there is still some odor to it. So I'm not saying that it's odorless, but I don't find it as strong of a scent compared to the original. So that is also a nice thing. But again, it is not odorless. So don't say it still smells like monomer. Yes, it does smell like monomer. It is monomer, but I find it a little less invasive, if that makes sense. Okay, so I'm gonna let that guy set up. Okay, I'm gonna put my form on this finger, and I am going to now customize it. So I'm going to take off that little tab for a second. What I like to do a dry fit. So all I'm doing is pressing the paper up against the form, but leaving the form on the paper. So now I can touch it and I can, put it against my finger to see, do I need to cut it? Do I not need to cut it? I like to roll my form so that it starts to have some body to it. I'm going to come at my nail with the form bent, and I'm going to see where do I need to cut it. So right now, I can feel it on my hyponychium. So I definitely want to use my scissors to cut out this little mark here. So this is, again, why I love these scissors, because I can get right into these spaces, cut out what I need to, be very precise. I love the handle because I just have to go like this, and I don't have to get my fingers stuck into the holes, because sometimes I will admit that my fingers sometimes get stuck in some of those little small scissors. Okay, so now I do another dry fit, and I look to see, did I cut it enough or not? Well, I still need to cut it a little bit more, because right here, it's still not quite sitting properly. So I'm just going to, again, start a little bit to the side. You don't want to cut this way and go across, because you're not allowing room for the hyponychium. All you're doing is cutting away the form. So you always want to do, I'll just show you on a new form. You always want to do that little V. So I start here, really skinny, come down a little deeper, and go up really skinny. Okay, so that's what I've done. So let's give it a look again. And that is fitting so much better, and it feels better on my finger. So I'm going to take now I can take the paper off. So could you imagine if you're trying to do that without the paper on? Now you're going to make this all unstuck, and it's not going to stick your finger. I do like to put this tab right in the middle, because what it does is it gives the form just a little bit more structure right in the middle here. Okay, so I've just lightly tacked it on the bottom. You want to make sure that you're lining this up nice and even. Otherwise, your dots are going to be skewed, which is now going to mess up your C curve. Okay, so again, get it on my finger. It's fitting nice. Dots are to be in the middle. So if you're a little off, make sure you straighten that out. Okay, and now I'm going to close my tabs here on the bottom. Okay. So many people want to close these back tabs right away. Well, if you close them right away, you have no room to move your form because it's too stuck. So I just lightly tack it here and then close those up later. Okay, so I want to customize this a little bit more, because I don't want it to be a flat nail like this one was. Let me just take that one off because it's slightly in my way. All right. Now, some people do cutting before they put the form on. Truthfully, I find, I don't know, there's a problem with me. I can't seem to do it. Now, these lines here, the idea is you want to start cutting right where your sidewall and the free edge starts. So I am going to get my scissors underneath here and notice how I'm cutting down on an angle. Okay, you'll see better on this side. So I'm going to take my scissors, get them underneath the form. Okay. Now, you don't have to pull these tabs back, but I like to do it as a visual so that you can see where it is that I'm pressing. And often what I'll do is I'll have students look down the barrel. So if you look down the barrel, hopefully you can see there is still a slight little gap there. Okay, but when I right here come and press it tighter, the gap disappears. And what it's done is now, whoops, my C curve, my sidewalls are coming down and around. Okay, so I am going to get a really nice, tight C curve. So all I'm doing is pressing right here, and you can see how that is coming around and it's wrapping. Okay. All right. There we go. It almost looks like on top, like as if it's too short. You think, oh, but the form didn't make it all the way to the sidewall. Well, yes, it did, but it's coming around. So I don't want it to be flat here like this one was. Okay, you can see how that's flat. I want it to be nice and curved. So let's do this one now. So same idea. Take my brush. NSI has 4 acrylic brushes. We have a Kolinsky, a baby grand. Okay, we have a grand. We have the Royal Precision, and then we have the Precision Elite. They are all different sizes. You've got your baby grand, which is a number 6. You've got your Grand Kolinsky, which is a number 8. And then you have your Royal Precision, which is this one, which is a 10. And then you have the Precision Elite, pardon me, and that one is a 12. So we've got a brush size for everybody. And
Sorry, Darlene, I don't mean to interrupt.
No,
But
interrupt.
the Precision Elite is a 14.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay,
That's
14. It's a 14. I'll show you under camera here a little bit in a minute, the different sizes. So you can see when I am applying my acrylic, I need to make sure that you are coming around. Okay, so I've got my line right there. And I'm going to blend that in. Okay. I'll do my next bead. Get it tucked in nice and tight. Do we have any questions so far, Isabel, or everybody's just watching?
Yeah, I'm not seeing any new questions come in since the sensitive monomer question.
Okay. Yeah, don't be afraid to ask questions. All right. Oh, I got a little lip there. Better fix that. Okay, so this one we are not pinching. Okay, now you can pinch gel as well, but you're going to do it in freezes. So even just right now, with the form still on, if you look at this finger, it looks wider here compared to this one because the product is coming around. Okay, let me just quickly show you the brushes. So if you are not familiar, get them out here quick. If you're not familiar with any of the brushes, so here we have got, whoops, we've got our baby grand, we've got our grand, we've got our Royal Precision, and then we've got our Precision Plus. Okay, so it's between these two that I work with a lot. I don't really use these ones here. I know some people like to use the baby grand for doing art with, which you certainly can. But that's another video. Okay, so we're going to leave that form on because this isn't quite set. It's really important to have your product set and be firm enough before you take your forms off. Because if you take your form off too quick, then you're going to perhaps move that acrylic or gel, whichever. All right, so we're going to do my next finger, which I am going to once again customize my form. So if you didn't see it the first time, I like to warm it up and give it a nice roll. So on this finger here, the hyponychium is really high. So that's it. I can't go any further. But do you see how the form is missing? So you have to be able to cut. And there are a lot of nail techs that don't understand it, have never been shown it, don't cut, and then don't like to use forms because they find them difficult. I always say you can do anything with a form where you're limited more with a tip. So you can see still a little bit that space, and there's still quite a bit of pressure on my hyponychium. So I'm gonna cut it just a little bit more, so a little deeper. You can, I have had some clients where I've had to go past the dot. So if you just keep cutting, if that's the case, don't be afraid, but just always remember to make a happy face, make a smiley. Okay, there. That feels so much better. All right. Actually, just this little side here. Okay. So I'm going to take my form off, take my tab, stick it behind, close it up. So this one is going to be a customized form plus a pinching tool. So put my form on, hold it nice and straight, close up my tabs. And when you adhere the form, really give it a good pinch and get the flesh of your finger right underneath there. This form is so secure. When I'm doing forms, I usually do 4 and 4, leave my thumbs to the end, and do them all at the same time because they're not going anywhere. So you don't have to worry about your client knocking the forms loose. So again, I want to cut right here at the free edge where my sidewall is, and I want to cut in a downward angle. Do the same thing on this side. I don't know why I'm making this difficult on myself. Just come up above. Okay. My form wiggles a little bit. And now again, right here, I want to roll that form nice and tight. And you can see how it's just sucked right in, which is really, really nice. And it feels nice and firm, solid on there. Okay, this finger is done. I'm going to just pop that form off. Okay, let's do this finger. Now, what you have to do with acrylic, you have to make sure that the acrylic is at a point where you can pinch but not manipulate or destroy the shape of the free edge. Okay, so there's a point where it's like, okay, it's starting to harden, but it's not quite hard all the way through. Okay, so you can get all your layers. You don't have to worry if you're doing encapsulation or whatever. You don't have to continue pinching while you're working. You can just pinch right at the end, because what ends up happening is every time I'm adding a little bit of form, every time I'm adding more acrylic or monomer to my layers, the bottom portion is still getting wet, if that makes sense. Okay, so I can just keep working until I'm done, because the acrylic kind of gets re-moistened, if that makes any sense at all. But when you're working with gel, you can only pinch once, and that's when you put the free edge on, okay? Because once it's hard, it's hard. And if you are putting another layer over top of it, well, you can't keep pinching that because the bottom layer is already hard, and so you're going to end up hurting your finger and doing some damage. Does that make sense? If that makes sense. It's perfect sense in my head, which is always a scary place to be, especially if you understood what I was saying. All right. Okay, I'm done. Clean my brush, get it out of the way, close that up. Okay, so I can't pinch it right now because obviously it's too wet. So let's just pretend for a minute that we're doing gel, okay? I've got my tip made on the form, okay? And I'm gonna put it into my light, and what I'm gonna do is I'm going to freeze that gel for 15 seconds. Okay, I'm gonna take my finger out, and at that point, I can take my pinching tools and I can give it just a little bounce on the form and the free edge tip. Okay, so I'm gonna just give it a little bit of a bounce, pinch it. I'm gonna put it in the light for another 15 seconds because what that is going to do is the light is, because I pinched it a little bit, the light is now going to freeze again the gel because I've made it a little bit tighter. But I need a 60-second cure time. Okay, so I've done it once at 15. I'm going to put it in again, another 15, so that's 30, and I'm going to give it one more pinch because it's not fully cured, and then I'm going to put it in for another 30 so it has its full 60-second cure time. Okay, all right, so what I'm doing now, you can hear the acrylic is going to cure faster on the nail plate because of the heat compared to the form here. Okay, I'm going to take my tweezers, and what I want to do is I want to place the pinch right there. Okay, so you can see that is where the pinch is happening. It's pinching right here. That's where we want to suck it in. I don't need to put my tweezers all the way up top here because now I'm pinching on the nail plate, which can cause damage. So I want to make sure that it is right here where the free edge and the product is applied. Now, if the nail was longer, I would use here more so that I can pinch the barrel more as the nail is extended out. Okay, so that's all I'm going to do, just right there, and I'm going to hold it for a few seconds. I can let go if I wanted to work on another finger. I could do that, but that's where I'm pinching, is right there on the form. And you're going to see with the product on here how that just makes it super, super tight, a really nice form. And I can take this off, and you can see with this hand, so I haven't filed yet, but you can already see the difference. So I wanted to achieve this tip look. Well, I was able to do that by customizing my form as well as pinching. Okay, and it just makes it's there's not a lot of product on there. It makes a super strong nail because now if I bang my nail, it's being dispersed. The stress is being dispersed down the whole sidewall, as opposed to here, it's flat, and I'm going to snap it right there. Does that make sense? Are there any questions that anybody has? A quiet group today. So at this point, you can go in and you can
Yeah, no
file.
questions, Darlene. Everyone's just saying that they're liking the way that you're explaining it and everything like that.
Perfect. So yeah, so again, if it makes sense, with the gel, let me do one really quick. I know we were doing acrylic, but let me do the thumb so that you understand what I'm talking about there, okay? So I'm just gonna literally slap this form on. Okay. So I'm not gonna customize it. I'm gonna just use my pinching tools. Okay, I'm gonna grab.
Darlene,
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
you let the tool do the pinching or do you apply pressure?
Okay, so and I was going to explain that just now too. If it's acrylic and it has set, I can make release, and the tool is doing the pinching. Okay, but if I did that on gel, because it's not cured, it's not at that full cure, so it's not going to collapse. If I do that with gel, I'm going to run into problems because the gel will collapse. So I'm going to use just here pretty in pink. I'm not priming it, doing anything. I just want to be able to show you what it is that I'm talking about. So I'm going to apply a super thin layer. Okay, put it on my nail. Nice and thin. And when I'm doing the gel, I always like to put a little bit at the free edge so that I have that nice connection right there. Okay, so it's super thin. So it's going to cure. Okay, got my product on. Okay, and I'm going to just stick it in my light, and I'm going to just watch where it gets to the 15 seconds. Okay. All right, 15. So now I'm not going to let the gel or the tool go. I'm just going to lightly squeeze. Okay, so with this tool, you do on you're working on gel, you don't let it go completely collapsed, but you can see how that's brought it in already. Okay, so now I'm going to put it in for another 15 seconds because if I don't pinch again, gel wants to relax. Okay, so come on, turn on. Gel wants to relax, and so you pinch, and then it's like, okay, freeze again because I want you to hold that shape. All right, so here I am at 15 seconds again, and I'm going to pinch again. Now, if I were to let that go, because it's not fully cured, you would see how that just pinches it shut. Okay, so now I've done two freezes. I'll go in again, freeze it one more time, and I'll do my last pinch. So you're pinching it in sections. Okay, and then I'll go in and completely do a full cure. So then this will be its shape, and then anything that I put over top of it is going to take on that shape. Does that make sense? So with gel, you can see I've got my C curve going really well. If I let the tool do the pinching, look at, it's too tight of a clamp. Okay, so and because it's super thin, it's going to collapse that. So you have to control the pinch with your hand. Don't let it collapse on you. So that's the bit of a difference there between pinching with gel and pinching with acrylic. Any other questions? I didn't put any primer on there, so of course that's just going to peel off. So again, let's just review. I want the nice C curve that a tip gives me. Okay, I'm using forms. This form I didn't customize. Okay, and it's flatter. This form I customized, and I've got a nice rounder C curve. This is customized and pinched. So I just need to file these babies up and we'll call it a day. So there we have it. let me turn you around and face you. See if I can answer any more questions for you. If there are no questions, that is perfectly fine. I do go back once the video has been posted. I do go back and look at the comments that are there, and I do try to personally answer questions some more as well. You can always reach out, whether it be on Facebook or Instagram. I did do a post yesterday on my Instagram page, Nail Girl 11, where I've done pictures of the hand, so you can see it on the top view and you can see it down the barrel. It just is a really good visual for you to see, for you to say, okay, this is what I need to do. Or if you are an educator, go ahead and use the pictures, because it allows you to show to your students what it is that you're trying to achieve. And we all want to have that really nice, tight C curve.
Darlene,
Yeah.
sorry, we did have one question.
Yep.
Can you squeeze the product onto the tip?
Can you squeeze the product onto a tip? I don't understand
Sorry,
what they
like
mean.
on a tip. Like, could you pinch
Oh,
while
yeah.
you're
So
applying on a tip?
yes, you can. Yes. So if you so I didn't do this one because I just wanted to see the C curve. But yeah, like, so let's say you're using tips that are not as tight of a C curve as what we have for NSI. Okay. It's maybe a little bit of a flatter tip. You can do a little bit of a squeeze, but what you have to be careful of, again, we don't want to break that connection that we have with the glue on the nail. And if we squeeze, not that it pops. So you may not be able to get as tight of a C curve pinching a tip, because again, you might run into that possibility of the tip popping off of the nail. So if I did that, I might want to use the pinchers, like as if I was doing the gel, just do a gentle a little squeeze, but I wouldn't clamp it down. Anything else? Okay, well, I hope that this was a good explanation. I hope that you enjoyed the information that I shared with you. We will be back again next month with an all new webinar. So tell your friends, ask them to join so that they can see it live. And if not, it will be posted to our group page, and you'll be able to look at it again and again and again, or use it as reference. So yeah, the implements are available and in stock. Is that correct, Isabel? I believe that that's a yes. She's not answering me, but that's okay. So check your local distributor to see if they have their shipments in yet. And again, happy pinching, and I hope that you all have a really great day. We will disconnect, and we will talk to you guys later. See ya.